Hello, thank you for watching my channel today. My name is Sarah and my channel is called Your True Self. Today I'm doing my mid-December wrap up. I've got one book that I didn't wrap up in November and the rest of all December reads. So as you know, if you watch my December TBR list, I'm trying to stick with happy, light-hearted, easygoing books this month to keep me in the Christmas spirit. It's been quite difficult to record because I've been really busy. And I've been having obviously like wrapping up to do and lots of stuff, so I haven't been doing as many videos as normal. So I'll kick off with my wrap up. So the first one is an audiobook that I DNF'd, and that was called The Improbability of Love by Rothschild. Now when I DNF an audiobook or when I don't enjoy an audiobook, I always wonder, was it the narrator or was it the book? And it's about a painting which is very valuable, and it gets put into a junk shop, and a lady finds it, buys it, not having any idea of its worth, and then her life is presumably turned around when she finds out the painting is worth millions and it goes to auction. So the things that made me DNF this book, there's two narrators. One is the painting and one is the lady who finds the painting in the junk shop. I liked her story. She was just a normal girl talking about like her life and her passion for cooking and her mum who's an alcoholic and her work, and that was interesting. I was enjoying her story. The painting I couldn't abide. The painting's voice was so snobby and stuck up and privileged and just not my cup of tea at all. And I didn't like a lot of the things in this book. Like, I felt that it was quite stereotypical about different races. There was also like bits where the staff who were looking after the potential bidders were basically told they had to do anything, like whatever it took, to keep their bidder happy and encourage them to place bids, and including, i.e., letting them touch them and stuff like that. And I was just like, I don't want to read about crap like that. And I hated how the rich were, it was the conversations they had. It was just so superficial, so shallow, just all about how much money is everyone spending on what and where from, and how that can buy each other friendships. And all of that stuff just makes me a bit sick, really. So yeah, I think actually it probably was the book more than the narrator, because while I didn't like the painting's voice, as you can tell from my little mini rant, I didn't like the book. So 1 star, DNF'd, no good. The second book that I read was The Multi-Hyphen Method by Gannon. This is a non-fiction book which talks about multi-hyphenating your career. So instead of working for the same company from the day that you leave school to the day you retire, it's about how now the market is a lot faster paced, how people are often staying in jobs for like 1 or 2 years, and because of that it's more likely that you'd be made redundant, that your job would be given to someone else who has more up-to-date skills than you. And so it's about not only keeping up with the changes and keeping yourself ahead of the game, but also about making your work for you. So whether that's doing like subcontractor work or working remotely. It talks a lot about working remotely, basically saying that the concept of having to be at a desk between the hours of 9 to 5 was basically how things were done in the Victorian ages, and why do we still feel the need to do that? Because she's saying that a lot of people work better earlier in the day or later in the day, and people often work more effectively from a place of their choice rather than wasting time on a commute, when actually people are often still working on their commute because they're checking their emails and doing stuff on their phone as part of work, so actually working for longer. And she's basically saying, make it work for you, be flexible in your terms of your hours, your projects, doing stuff that you enjoy, making sure you keep diversifying your skill set to make sure that you don't basically get someone replacing you who is more up to date with things. So it had some really interesting insights. I think quite a lot of it I felt like that I knew already, probably because of the careers course I did nearly a year ago now, which was really insightful. But also I felt that a lot of it was quite repetitive, and some of it felt like it didn't apply to me in my NHS job, because it's not like that in the NHS, and you don't get made redundant, and you haven't got people constantly after your job. It's the other way around, really. So yeah, so I gave it a 3 stars. So I think it's definitely, if you're having thoughts about your career, I think it's a good book to go to, but I don't think it'll give you all the answers that you need. And it says the word millennials a lot, which got kind of annoying. So that was the second one. The third one was Pages & Co. by Anna James. I can't hold that up, or the last one, because they've both gone back to the library now. Pages & Co. is as part of a series. It's the first one, Tilly and the Book Wanderers series. It is a special book. It is for middle graders, and I think as an adult you could totally enjoy this book. So it's about Tilly, who is a little girl who's probably about 10 or 11. She lives with her grandparents, who own a bookshop called Pages & Co. Her grandparents have raised her since she was very small, when her mother disappeared and her father died. And it's about her and her friend. And Tilly just discovers that she can do something called book wandering, where she will go into a story and meet the characters and become part of the story while she's in it, which can be dangerous, because imagine if you went into Lord of the Rings and you were in one of the battle scenes, for instance. And the thing, so that's what the plot's about, but the thing that I loved about this book is it's so magical. Like, it captures what it's like to be a child so well. It captures what it's like to love books, and what it's like to be in a bookshop, and what it's like to talk to other people that love books. And it just it captures this magic so well, and it's very comforting. It talks I don't know, just little family things that you do, just whether it's like sitting at the kitchen table together and having a cup of tea and having a chat. It's just like small things, which the way she's written about them, you could tell that she adores books, and as a child that she adored books. And I just love the way that she's captured it. It's just really magical. And I can't really say loads about the plot, but I felt like I did get to know Tilly. I got to know her grandparents. I loved her grandparents. I loved the setting of the bookshop, and I just couldn't recommend it high enough, really, especially if you're after something which is comforting and cosy. It's just a lovely book. The next one I read was this book here by Giovanna Fletcher, Some Kind of Wonderful. This is a romance book, and I don't normally go for this genre, and I was a little bit trepidatious about picking it up, because I thought, is it just going to be, not much good, basically. I didn't really, the covers kind of speaks that kind of book to me, but I picked it up because I really like Giovanna Fletcher. And anyway, I was very pleasantly surprised. So it's not going to win any literary awards. It's not a literary novel by any means. The writing in places is a little bit like but I love the essence of this book. So it's about a girl called Lizzie who's been with her boyfriend Ian for 10 years, and they go to Dubai, and he's about to propose. He gets the ring out, and then he says, I can't do it. I can't do this. I don't want to do this anymore. I want to break up. And so her whole world obviously just goes to pieces. But then this book focuses on her journey of self-discovery, rediscovering who she is, and discovering who she is on her own, because she goes and moves back with her mum and dad and lives in her childhood bedroom for a while. And Giovanna is she's probably like 3 or 4 years younger than me, but she's roughly the same age as me. She's from Essex, like I am, and she talks about places in Essex that I've been to, and around that same age as the character is. And she talks about just pop culture references from growing up in the 90s, and so I love it when she talks about like music and the Spice Girls, and I don't know, just different stuff that was part of my growing up. And she talked about things she can remember from before she got together with Ian, things she used to do, things she used to be like. And I could just really relate to when she wrote that list of what I used to be like at that age, and where I used to go, and what I used to listen to. And she then just talks about basically finding who she is again, because she's obviously been part of a couple for 10 years, and she feels like she's lost her identity a bit, but she realises she's not the same person that she was when she got together with him. And it's basically her figuring out life on her own. And I just felt like, having been in my relationship for 15 years, if I put myself in her shoes, there's so many things which I thought, oh yeah, you know, and yeah, I could really relate to her. I really like Lizzie. I could relate to her and her friends. Even like I say, this isn't going to win a literary award, but the plot really drew me in. It really cheered me up. It's one of those books that you just feel happy every time you read it, and I really wanted to pick it up all the time. Like, I'd sneak out of work and go and sit in the car sometimes just so I could read it when I had my lunch, because I just really wanted to read it, and it was really lovely. And so I'd really, really recommend it. I would give it 4 stars, and I will be reading other stuff in her repertoire. And then the last one as part of this wrap up is this creepy little book, The Winter People by Jennifer McMahon. This one I got because it is the Patreon book club choice for Jen Campbell's book club, and we haven't discussed it yet, so I'm interested to hear what other people think. It's bloody scary. It's about a lady called Sarah who is living in the 1800s. She loses her daughter. Her daughter's found in the bottom of a well. We don't know if she was murdered or if she fell. And there is a legend that you can bring back the dead for 7 days if you cast this specific spell. And in this time period, there's lots of children and adults who are going missing. And we keep seeing these kind of creepy, ghostly figures flitting around, and it cuts between then and the present day to a girl called Ruthie who lives in the same house where Sarah used to live, and her mother's just gone missing. And it's really, really creepy. Like, after I'd read it, I was like, ooh, I didn't like reading it just before I went to bed. It really did spook me. However, it was a page turner because you wanted to know what's going to happen to this person, where's that person been, but I didn't really care about any of the characters. Particularly, like, I didn't feel like I got to know the characters. I didn't feel like I cared what happened to them that much. I just felt like it was all about the place setting, which was done really well, and it was about jumping back and forward in time as sort of like a plot device, and it was scary, but I think it was more out to scare you rather than make you learn about the people and the characters within it. And so I only gave it 3 stars. That's kind of generous in a way, because I didn't hate it by any means, but it didn't draw me in enough in terms of the people in the book, only in terms of the sort of spooky side of things, of wanting to know what was going to happen. That bit drew me in, and that bit's well done. So I'll be interested to hear what the other people think in the book club, but I'm not going to keep hold of this one. I'm going to give it away. So they were the ones that I have finished, and I am currently reading a Dorothy Coomson book, which is another romance called The Chocolate Run. So I'll be wrapping that one up, and hopefully some more in the next video that I do. So I hope you're all having a wonderful Advent period, and I will speak to you again soon. Bye.